Hello, this is Essie, the rich woman. Today is Thursday. It's almost 10 p.m. And I like making my videos in the daytime now because I just don't care for making them at night. I used to make them at night a lot of times, but I don't know. I just like the way they look in the daytime. Um, I got my ring light on. That's what you can see in my glasses right here. Um, so yeah, I'll be glad when I get my apartment so I can just turn on the light. And I'm going to get me a light, but it's not going to be like a ring light. It's going to be a light where it got like a shade in front of it. I already got it in my Amazon card. It kind of has like a white shade like in front of it, so it doesn't, so you won't see no ring or anything in my glasses. More like I guess it shields the light bulb or whatever, so it won't come out so harsh. So I want to get one of those when I get my place. But I wanted to share. Oh, and also I want to say thank you to a subscriber. His name is Derek. Thank you for your donation. I really appreciate it. I know you said it wasn't much, but I can't buy a meal with it. So thank you so much for that donation. So let me see. One of my subscribers, Tina, emailed me today and shared several scriptures, but one of the scriptures she shared with me was St. John, the 15th chapter, verse 1 through 8. And it talks about the vine. It talks about Yahshua being the vine and Yahweh being the husbandman. It was something I wanted to look up. I should have looked that up before I pressed start. But hold on a minute. Okay, I'm back. Like I was saying, I have a subscriber named Tina, and she emailed me some scriptures. And one of the scriptures that stood out to me was St. John the 15th chapter, verse 1 through 8, that she shared. And it talks about the vine. And that stuck out to me when I was reading it because I had a vision about vines. And this was years ago when I had my apartment. I was laying on the couch and hold on. I was laying on the couch and I was woke. I wasn't asleep. And when you sleep, you dream. But when you woke and you see things, whether your eyes be closed or whether your eyes be open, that's a vision. So I only had one open-eyed vision, but the rest of my visions were closed-eye visions. So the one about the vines was a closed-eye vision. I was wide awake, and I was laying on the couch, and I closed my eyes, and immediately I started seeing me in my car, and I was driving on the freeway. And so as I was driving on the freeway in my car, these vines started growing, and they were growing, and they were growing all over the freeway. They were like coming on the freeway, and they were just growing and growing. And I'm driving, and I'm bumping over vines. I'm just bumping over them, and they just coming more and more and more to the point where I stop my car, and I get out, and I'm looking like, where is all these vines coming from? So while I'm standing there, the vines start coming up my leg. They start coming all the way up my whole body. And the vines come up all the way, and it goes all the way to the top of my head. And then the vines tighten. They tighten up. And when the vines tighten up, my head sunk in like this. That's how tight they were. And so I was kind of scared because I could actually feel my head sinking in my chest. I could feel it. And so what happens is, after the vines tighten up all over my body, it lifts me up off the ground. And now I'm flying in the air. The vines are taking me somewhere. I don't know where. I mean, yeah, I didn't know where at the time. And so the vines are taking me in the air, and we moving in the air, in the sky. And so I'm seeing mountains. I didn't see like city or nothing like that. Just like mountain type of terrain, land. That's all I'm seeing. So it takes me, and as we're traveling, I can see, because it covered me, like my whole body. It covered my whole body. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think my eyes might have been the only thing out. If I'm not mistaken. I know that I could like look to the side and I could see green vines. That's how close they were to my eyes, because I can see the green vines when I look over to the side. So as I'm flying, as the vines are carrying me in the air, the vines, at some point, the vines turn white, and it's all white, and it don't look like vines anymore, but all I see now is white when I look over to the side. I don't know how that happened, but it happened. And so now I'm traveling, and I'm coming up on what looks to be almost like a church. You know how a congregation looks, and it's like a congregation, but there's no ceiling, there's no walls. So the people are out in the open, and there's an aisle. There's an aisle, right? And then there's another aisle that go like this, almost like a cross, not a cross, but a plus. You know how a plus sign is? That's how the aisle was, right? So there's people right here, and there's people right here. And so it's a nice congregation size people, but everyone has on white. Everyone. So all I see is white. And the people are standing. They're not sitting. They're standing. And everyone has on white robes. And the people are standing in a order. Like, nobody is out of order. You know what I'm saying? So almost kind of like, how you play chess or checkers, and you put the checkers in the order where they're supposed to be. That's kind of like how the people were standing. They were standing in an order, and where they supposed to be, that's where they were. Nobody was out of place. Nobody was out of order. So, and there's a stage. There's a stage, and there's a piano on the stage, and there's people standing next to the piano, about maybe, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 people standing next to the piano, which I perceive to be the choir. And then there's also a little short man. I saw this little short man in another dream. The same little short man, I saw him in a dream that I had. It was my wedding day, and that little short man was preparing me for my wedding. I had on a white gown, and he was preparing me for my wedding. But that's a dream I had another day. So, but anyway, this same little white man, because I had the vision of the vines first, and I saw the little, did I say white man? If I said little white man, I didn't mean to say little white man, but little man. I had the vision of the vines first, and I saw the little man. And some years later, soon after I was homeless, I had a dream of me getting ready for my wedding. And the same little short man was preparing me for my wedding. Anyway, so the little man was on stage. So it carried me down the aisle. It took me, I was hovering up, like off my feet. I was hovering, and it took me down the aisle, and it took me to the stage. Right on the stage is where it landed me. Put it like that. It landed me there. So the little man, he did something at the top of my head, because that's where I was being carried at. I was being carried by the top. So the little man did something at the top of my head. I don't know what he did. So when he did it, everything just fell off. It was like, to me, it kind of looked it like clay or something. White clay, like a shell maybe. And when he did something up there, it just, everything just fell off of me. The white stuff just fell off. And so when it fell off, I had on clothes. I had on a black coat, and regular clothes. So the little man told me to stand by the choir. That was my place to stand, by the choir. And so I was under the impression that I was going to be singing. And so when I was on my way to stand by the choir, the little man turned. He's like, "We need a robe. She needs," no, he said, "She needs a robe. She needs a robe." He said it 2 times. He looked to the other end of the stage, and he was telling somebody, "She needs a robe. She needs a robe." And then that was the end of the vision. So, hold on a minute. So my mouth was dry. I had to drink some water. I almost pushed the wrong button. I almost ended the video. Oh, I'm so glad that didn't happen. So yeah, that was the end of the vision, and then I was able to open my eyes. But I was telling Tina that my dreams and visions are in the Bible. My encounters with Yahweh are in the Bible. I can go in the Bible and I can find them. That's why I said this Bible, it never goes out of date. It's never outdated. If you have a relationship with Yahweh, with Yahshua Messiah, and he give you dreams, visions, you have encounters with him. Before there was the cell phone and the internet, like now I can go on Google or whatever, and I can put in keywords. I can say, like, where does it talk about husbandman? And it'll bring me up scriptures and stuff. But before that existed, I would get the concordance, the Bible concordance, and I would look up keywords in the concordance, and that's how I would find scriptures that I needed. So I'm gonna read this scripture to you, because this is where the answer to my vision that I had about the vines. And this is Joshua talking to the disciples. I believe he's talking to the disciples. If he ain't talking to his disciples, he's talking to a multitude of people. But I believe he's talking to the disciples right here. But this is Joshua talking. St. John, the 15th chapter. I am the true vine, and my Father is the husbandman. Every branch in me that beareth not fruit, he taketh away. And every branch that beareth fruit, he pruneth it, that it may bring forth more fruit. Now ye are clean through the word which I have spoken unto you. Abide in me, and I in you, as the branch cannot bear fruit of itself, except it abide in the vine. No more can ye, except ye abide in me. I am the vine, ye are the branches. He that abideth in me, and I in him, the same beareth forth much fruit. For without me ye can do nothing. If a man abide not in me, he is cast forth as a branch, and is withered. And men gather them, and cast them into the fire, and they are burned. If ye abide in me, and my words abide in you, ye shall ask what ye will, and it shall be done unto you. Herein is my Father glorified, that ye bear much fruit, so shall ye be my disciples. As the Father hath loved me, so have I loved you. Continue ye in my love. Now, I want to continue on reading a little bit more, and then I'm going to read something else. If ye keep my commandments, ye shall abide in my love, even as I have kept my Father's commandments and abide in his love. These things have I spoken unto you, that my joy might remain in you, and that your joy might be full. Now, this is my commandment, that ye love one another as I have loved you. Greater love have no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friend. Ye are my friends, if ye do whatsoever I command you. Henceforth I call you not servants, for the servant knoweth not what his master doeth. That's why I don't like when people call me a servant of the Lord. Be like, I'm not no servant. Because that's what it said right here. He said, I don't call you a servant. Ye are my friends, if ye do whatsoever I command you. Henceforth I call you not servants, for the servant knoweth not what his master doeth. But I call you my friends. I call you friends. For all things that I have heard of my Father, I have made known unto you. Ye have not chosen me. You hear that? Ye, which is you, have not chosen me, but I have chosen you and ordained you, that you should go and bring forth fruit, and that your fruit shall remain, that whatsoever ye shall ask of the Father in my name, he may give it you. These things I command you, that ye love one another. If the world hates you, ye know that it hated me before it hated you. If ye were of the world would love his own. But because ye are not of the world, but I have chosen you out of the world, therefore the world hateth you. Okay, I think I'm going to stop right there. So, I wanted to read that scripture of how I had that vision of the vines. And so, I'm a branch. I'm a branch. Yahshua is the vine, and I'm the branch on the vine. And Yahweh is the husbandman. Yahweh is the one that watereth the branch. He is also the one that pruneth it. Yahweh pruneth it, that it may bring forth more fruit. So, I mean, just like you looking at a tree or maybe an actual vines, you know how at certain times of the year they prune the trees, even though they cut them off. But then they grow and they grow and they bear and the trees grow. But the vines, the part of the trees that was cut, they going into the shredder. You know, they don't think they burn them, but they going into the shredder. They might use it for to burn for a fire, you know, for the fireplace. But this is how you taking the physical things of the world to understand the spiritual things of the world. So this is a good explaining my vision that I had. This scripture right here. So I know a lot of people go by the Old Testament and they think, oh, the commandments, we have to do the commandments. No, we have a new commandment now. We don't have the old commandment, the 10 commandment law. We don't have that anymore. We have a new commandment, and the new commandment is to love one another. And so, you know, you get people saying, oh, well, I shouldn't, you saying it's okay to kill somebody, you saying it's okay to commit adultery and all this stuff. If you love one another, you won't commit adultery. If you love people, you won't go and sleep with someone's husband or wife. If you love people, you won't go and kill someone. You know, so love encompasses all of that. So people, I think, get confused about, you know, they thinking, oh, well, because we say that the 10 Commandment law is not in effect anymore, because Yahshua, the Messiah, came and fulfilled the 10 Commandment law, which is actually 613 laws, ordinances, and commandments. He fulfilled all of it. And so we can't feel any of those laws. That's why he was the perfect lamb that came and fulfilled that law. And so he says, now I give you a new commandment. And the new commandment is to love one another. And if you love, you won't do all of those things, you know. So yeah, when she emailed me these scriptures and I was reading about the vines, I thought about my vision. So I wanted to share it, and I wanted to read the scripture to go with the vision that I had. But yeah, so I am a branch on the vine, on Yahshua's vine. And so I had looked up, because I used to go to this church before I found out about Yahweh and Yahshua. I used to go to this church. So I was always a little confused about bearing fruit. That church used to tell us that. Anyway, that church used to tell us that bearing fruit, they used to call us disciples. And they would tell us bearing fruit is going out and preaching the gospel, sharing the word, and bringing people to the church. And so that's what they would call bearing fruit. Bringing people to the church is bearing fruit. This church was really all about money. And that's why they want you to bring these people, so they can pay tithes and they can pay special contribution once a year. So, but bearing fruit is not about that, because it is Joshua. It says right there, I choose you. You don't choose Joshua. He chooses you. That's what he says. And that's what I read. So a lot of people say they chose Joshua, they choose him. No, he chooses you. You don't choose him. So I had looked up, what does bearing fruit mean? So this is what it came up. In the Bible, bearing fruit is often used as a metaphor for spiritual growth, good works, in a transformed life, reflecting the Messiah's like character. It signifies a life that produces positive outcomes, both eternally character in parentheses, and externally, which is actions that honor Yahweh. This concept is prominent in the New Testament, particularly in the teachings of Yahshua and the writings of Paul. Spiritual growth. Bearing fruit is a sign of a believer's spiritual maturity in connection with the Messiah, like a branch connected to a vine. Good works. It encompasses actions that reflect a changed life, such as acts of love, kindness, and service to others. Fruit of the Spirit, and you can look up these scriptures. Galatians 5:22 through 23 lists the fruit of the Spirit as love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control, emphasizing the eternal qualities that should be evident in a believer's life. The next chapter is John 15:1 through 8, which I just read. Yahshua uses the vine and branches to illustrate that true faithfulness comes from remaining connected to Him. He says, I am the vine, you are the branches. He who abides in me and I in him bears much fruit, for without me you can do nothing. And then here's another scripture, Matthew 7:16 through 20. Yahshua teaches that a good tree, and it got believers in parentheses, will produce good fruit. And a bad tree, it has unbelievers in parentheses, will produce bad fruit. 2 Peter 1:8. This verse connects